going on, everyone? Christina here, and today we're going to be finding the product of this polynomial, right? So finding the product is just a fancy way for saying, let's multiply, right? So we're going to do some multiplication. And what are we going to be multiplying here? Well, we have two polynomials. We have 3d minus 5 times 2d plus 9. Technically, these are binomials, but that's okay. When you multiply binomials, we should get a polynomial. So, we are always going to be multiplying the two separate sets of parentheses. So we got parenthesis number 1, 3d minus 5, multiplied by 2d plus 9. Now, there's many different ways out there to teach, multiplying polynomials, but I think we don't need acronyms, we don't need no tables. All we gotta learn is just how to be a little fair. And not a little fair, we gotta be fair. So the theme of this video is gonna be fairness all around. You're probably gonna hear me say, you gotta be fair, probably 40 times during this video. But I promise at the end, you will remember how to multiply polynomials. So let's get down to it. What does this whole idea of you gotta be fair even mean? Well, we're going to focus our most of our attention on the first parenthesis because we like to systematize everything. So, and just like we read, always focus on the first term and then do your work on the second term. So, we're going to be focusing our efforts on the 3D right now, and we have to multiply because we got to find the product. But the idea is that you cannot multiply terms that are inside the same parenthesis. It clearly says here that it's being subtracted, but you must go across the pond, right? Across the parenthesis to do your multiplication. And you have two terms here. What's the word? Well, what's the saying? You gotta be fair. I gotta take that 3D and multiply it by the 2D. But then the positive 9's like, oh, I want to be multiplied too. So if you multiply the 3D by the 2D value, you gotta multiply the 3D by the positive 9. And if there was 3 terms here, you would just multiply it by 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, depending how many you got. So let's do our first round of multiplicating, and then we go back and we figure out what's going on with the negative 5. All right, so multiplying numbers is the same as you would, with any algebra. So 3 times 2 is 6. So we're going to start off strong with a 6. And now we have d times d. Now when you're multiplying variables together, we need to know that property. And I'll post it up on the screen right here. And we'll throw it down here. If you are adding variables, and let's just say we got one number, which is A, and another number, which is B, right? And it could be two A's, could be two B's. They could be different, but the whole idea is that if you're multiplying variables, you're secretly adding the exponents. We do not multiply the exponents. We add them together. So in this case, you have a d to the first being multiplied by a d to the first, right? I don't see any number, so I know that I only got one of those d values. And now we have those exponents. 1 plus 1 is, 2. So d to the second. And that's our first term. Now we got to be fair. We got to multiply the 3d by the positive 9. So numbers first. 3 times 9 is a positive 27, so plus 27. And now I just have that one lonely d value. There's no d here, so I'm just going to put a d. And notice how I'm starting to use different colors, because d squareds do not like to get simplified with any other d value other than d squareds. So if you have a d squared and just a d value, they don't communicate with each other. They do not simplify with each other. So we're just going to color them differently because they want to be simplified with their own variable type. So we're just going to keep going. Now we did our first multiplication. So once you do the first multiplication, don't even focus on the 3D anymore. Let's start moving on to the next variable in the first parenthesis. And in this case, please take note as to what sign you're working with. There was a negative here, which means that this is a -5. And we have to multiply it across the pond, across the parenthesis, and we got those two variables. So what do you think we're going to do? We're going to be fair. We're going to take that -5 and multiply it by the 2d. The positive 9's like, what about me? The -5 now gets multiplied by the 9. And there we go. Let's do it. So we got -5 times 2, numbers first. That's a -10. This does not have a d value. This was just a d, so d. And notice how I drew it blue. They are the same variable type, so these will be simplified when we get there. But let's just finish out our being fair, right? So -5 times a positive 9, that is a -45. Notice how I drew it in a different color, because this one doesn't even have a variable in it. And now we're ready to simplify by adding or subtracting. The 6d squared, can't do anything with that, so 6d squared. But now, since I have 2d variables, I'm going to add or subtract them, depending on how you look at it. So in this case, I got a plus 27, so a positive 27 minus a 10. So 27 minus 10, right? That's 17. So that's a plus 17. And now, when you're adding or subtracting your variables, the variables just come along for the ride. This does not become a d squared. It stays whatever variable it was. So this would be 17d. And then we just keep going, minus 45. And now, if you got one of each color, they're not going to, simplify with each other. So you're done. And this is your final answer. 6d squared plus 17d minus 45. And you're good. What do you think? Were you fair? Did you practice fairness? But yeah, that's how this works. So anytime that I see two polynomials being multiplied together, I'm always doing it the fair way. And once you get the hang of it, you're going to be super quick with it. So you don't need a table, you don't need an acronym. Just be systematic about it and just be fair. All right? So yeah, thank you so much for viewing the video. If you want, leave a comment. I love reading comments. I try to get back to as many of you as I can in my spare time. My brother and I, we really do appreciate all you guys. Thank you for making this channel what it is. I can't imagine that, this education channel is getting such positive feedback, but thank you so much. And yeah, we love helping you guys out. We have tons of videos, thousands of videos out there, physics, math, obviously, and chemistry. So check the channel out. We're probably going to be able to help you with a lot of subjects. And yeah, as always, I hope you're really having a great day out there. Keep studying hard. I'm always rooting for you. And I'll talk to you in the next one, okay? All right, bye-bye.